My name is Andrew Irvin, and I'm the author of Lost Tomb of the Bitchin Chimera. I'd like to say a few things about how this RPG adventure, inspired by the Dead Milkmen, came to be. I've been a big fan of the Milkmen since Big Lizard in My Backyard came out in 1985. I was 14 and bought a cassette at the mall. About a decade later, I met Dean Clean, and we started to hang out a bit. There's a story involving chocolate breakfast cereal that I won't elaborate upon here, but we've been friends for over 25 years now, and he introduced me to the late great Dave Blood. I was living in Budapest back then, and Blood was in Serbia, so he came to visit for a little while. Fast forward another decade, the Milkmen were kind enough to play at the release party for one of my books. I've obviously remained a huge fan, so when in 2019 I saw that they were going to play another show at Laurel Hill Cemetery, I called a few of my nerd friends and we decided to run a session of D&D beforehand. Why not? Dean got us permission to get into the cemetery early so we'd have enough time to play before the first opening act. My friends didn't know that I had written a site-specific one-hitter inspired by the band and called Into the Burrow of the Owlbear. One of the challenges I faced was it was going to get dark and there are no lights in the cemetery. Why would there be? So I got my mitts on some glow-in-the-dark dice and wrote an RPG mechanic specifically for them. Somehow, it all came together. We had a great time and kind of figured that was the end of it. But a few weeks later, I got to speaking with Justin at Severed Books, and we had the idea of expanding my one-hitter into a larger adventure. So I added a ton of new material, all inspired by the band, then had it play-tested, and kept editing and rewriting. With the support of the Dead Milkmen, Lost Tomb of the Bitchin Chimera was born. It turns out that Rodney Anonymous is a longtime D&D player too. Pretty cool, right? The glowing dice are still in it as an optional mechanic, but I do hope you get to play it in a hilly cemetery at dusk like we did. And the show that night was awesome. Now, I've noticed that when performers use a lot of humor or irony, the way the Dead Milkmen do, people don't always immediately recognize the artistry involved, the raw talent, the amount of practice and work that goes into it. In addition to being tremendous songwriters, the Dead Milkmen are also world-class musicians. They're so good live. And with Dandrew Stevens on bass, I think they now sound even better than ever. So, next time you get the chance, please go see the Dead Milkmen live. And in the meantime, I hope you do enjoy Lost Tomb of the Bitchin Chimera.